Are you trying to increase your ACT reading score and a little bit panicked? Or you just need some quick tips and tricks because you've got your ACT test tomorrow and you're just trying to cram this in. If so, this is the right video for you. So in today's video, we are going to focus on a couple of hacks to go ahead and bump up your ACT reading score without a ton of cramming. My name is Rebecca and I coach kids on ACT and SAT prep online and in person in a small town in Florida. So that being said, I work with a lot of kids to boost their ACT reading scores, and ACT reading scores are all over the map, and they are also not a true reflection of if a kid is a strong reader or a weak reader. They're really a reflection of your strategy. So with the ACT reading section, you have 35 minutes to do 40 questions with 4 passages, which is absolutely insane. No one can read that humanly fast. I mean, I've met a couple, but that being said, the average person, including myself, cannot read that fast and understand what on earth they are reading. So my biggest thing that I do to increase students' scores is actually work on their reading strategy. I've got about 5 to 10% of kids that I work with that are super fast readers. I try to quickly identify them, and I classify a student as a very fast reader if they're able to read an ACT passage, a single passage, in 90 seconds and be able to answer a couple questions about it. Those are my fast readers. And for my fast readers, those are the only ones I recommend to read the actual ACT passage. Everybody else, I kind of lump into 2 categories. One is our average, and that's kind of where I fall with my reading abilities. I used to be a super fast reader, and that is not the case anymore, to be realistic. And so my favorite strategy is actually reading the first paragraph and the last paragraph of the section, because that contains most of the information you need, and then go directly to the questions and answer those questions that have line numbers first, and then go back and do the super hard ones from there. That all being said, that is one of my favorite strategies to use. That's my favorite. That's the one I personally use at this time. The other group is where my super slow readers are, and then for those guys, I don't even have them read the passage. What I do is I said, "Hey, read the title," and then go directly to the questions with the line numbers. So the biggest thing, like I said, with the ACT reading is not necessarily your comprehension abilities. Like I said, it's your strategy. So what I recommend with students is you kind of figure out where your best score is going to be. So you go in and you figure out which type of timed reading strategy you are going to take and lock down from there. I highly suggest like practicing this, and maybe one passage you do one way, another passage you do the other way, and figure out your score. But it just kind of depends on the kid. Because when I meet with a kid, on the ACT reading, I commonly ask, did you run out of time? How much time were you using? How many questions did you guess on? Because that kind of gives me a feel of where they are struggling. If they answered every single question and knew the answers and got a low score, I'm going to work on their reading comprehension. But if they guessed on 15 out of 40 questions, then yeah, I'm going to work on their timing strategy. And more kids fall in the timing issue than anything else. The other way to just naturally increase your ACT reading score is to start out with the passages that you like the most. Statistically, the students either score higher in fiction passages or the natural science passage. That's the last of it. So typically starting out your work, going ahead and focusing on your strong passages and knocking those out, and then at the end of the time when you're already kind of crunch and stressed, then you go ahead and focus on those lower end passages. And most kids tend to score a little bit lower on the social sciences end. So nailing down your timing and nailing down your strategy does naturally increase your score. And then the last thing is to keep in mind that the ACT is a really literal test. If you are having to draw conclusions, make conclusions, or kind of pull from your prior knowledge, and when you're answering these questions on the ACT reading, you probably got the answer wrong. So make sure that you factor that in as well, is that it's very literal, it has to be in the text, and it should not be for prior knowledge. Please like and subscribe for more content that we can create to best support you in your test prep journey.